And welcome to another episode of the Raging Marks Wrestling Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, TNK.
Ravishing Randy, good to be back in studio after a long hiatus. I say long hiatus only because we tried to do this last week, and due to technical difficulties, we weren't able to get the show out.
Hey, man, everything happens for a reason. It is what it is, man.
You know, well, the crazy thing is, we were going to come in last week, and we had a lot to talk about with the Rumble and the build-up to the Rumble. And then just this past week, a lot has happened. And
A lot more's happened, yes.
Kind of feels like we have to rush through everything that happened in the build-up to the Rumble, and we'll touch on the Rumble a little bit. One thing I do want to throw out there before we really get deep into the WWE waters, got to talk about our experience at AEW Dynamite and Rampage this past week.
Look, a biggest AEW fan right here. Love AEW. I just love professional wrestling. I will support it any way I can.
Yep.
And with the recency with news we heard about AEW, we kind of talked about this. Okay, yeah, the ticket sales weren't great, but I enjoyed the show a total as it was. How about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed the show. I mean, I think from start to finish, there was good action. Even Rampage had a couple of good matches on
The
there.
matches were entertaining, even if it's like the lesser crowd. Like, okay, yeah, Top Flight, Private Party was still, entertaining. I didn't even know about the Ricky Starks thing. I don't remember hearing about that.
Yeah,
ever.
dude, look, it's they're taping in New Orleans. You have to have Ricky Starks there in some capacity. During live Dynamite, we had like the video interview that took place between Sting and Darby, and I was about to say Big Cass, but Big Bill and Ricky Starks building up for their tag match this coming Wednesday.
Yes.
For the titles. But to actually get to see him wrestle, even on like the taped Dynamite or Rampage segment,
It was nice because he was in his home crowd, exactly. So they did a great show. I just wish they worked more on their storytelling. And yes, we can get into the faults of AW later, but as a whole, it was nice to see. I never gone to, because last time we went to Dynamite, they didn't have Rampage afterwards. We just a single Dynamite, and they did like a little segment 30 minutes after for the crowd that was there. So you get like your 2 matches from Ring of Honor before, 2 hours of Dynamite, and then you get the 1 hour of Rampage, which 3.5 hours total for a paying audience member. Dude,
No, I mean, it wasn't bad. I know there's been horror stories from other tapings of like it being a very long day with them trying to fit in 3 or 4 different shows
Yeah, thank God we
into
have that, yes.
a day. Yeah, no, I mean, 3.5 hours. It was the perfect sweet spot. Hit all the marks. Yeah, the attendance was worse than the last time they were in New Orleans, almost 2 years ago. It sucks. I mean, because I do feel like you have a diehard wrestling fan base there. I mean, we'll touch on some of AEW's issues real quick. Well, no, I mean, we touch on it real quick.
we do it now.
Because, I mean, I think one of the things that hurt AEW this go-around is the fact that it was a week and a half removed from Raw
Monday
being
Night
here.
Raw was the week before, so
The Raw, mind you, that was the go-home show for Royal Rumble. That was in New Orleans.
yes, that was in the ones at the Smoothie King Center. That was January 21st or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that Monday, the Raw before Royal Rumble. The following Wednesday, a week later, 10 days later, you have Dynamite, and you wonder why your ticket sales are foundering.
I mean, look, New Orleans is not a very rich market as far as like disposable income, and so if you give a wrestling fan a choice of going to a go-home show for Raw for the Rumble or going to Dynamite, I think a lot of people probably steered more in the WWE direction. I mean, we didn't get a chance to go to Raw. I couldn't because of work, and I know with you, it's like you can only shell out so much money for a ticket.
Inflation, pricing, everything. I had to pick one. I chose AEW.
Yeah, I mean, got to support,
But, I mean, support when you can, but dude, money is a factor.
But this seems to be a running theme with AEW, like having events in towns not too long after WWE has been there, and this is something that's circulated the internet. And look, I even pointed it out, and I've seen other people say the same agreement. Wherever WWE is touring, be in the complete opposite area that they're in.
Yes.
If they're on the East Coast, you're touring on the West Coast. If they're up north in Minnesota, Wisconsin, you're in the Deep South. Wherever WWE is, be the opposite. And that should help ticket sales, at least space it out.
We should have ticket sales a decent amount down. I was really shocked when I saw it myself firsthand. I felt bad for AEW. Luckily, UNO's got a great acoustics, but in general, AEW this year, you need to make a change with the touring schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. I mean, look, don't punish cities like New Orleans or Bossier City or whatever. Just be smarter in how you schedule events.
Correct.
WWE puts their shit out months in advance. You can work around that. And I mean, there's other issues. I know we're going to do a State of Wrestling show sometime in the coming weeks because we always do it almost every quarter. Yeah. So yeah, we'll delve more into the AEW issues when we get there. Quick hits, WWE. So let's go to the week of Royal Rumble. We have Netflix announcing the deal that they've acquired the rights for Monday Night Raw. 10 years, $5 billion. It goes into effect early next year.
Yeah, they can decide to renege on that deal after 5 years. Mm-hmm. It's all to Netflix.
Yeah, there's an opt-out clause, but I mean, big money for WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Also, in that same time period, Rock getting named to TKO's board of directors. And the big thing, though, or the big news coming out of that is that he now has all the rights to his name, his trademarks, everything. So instead of him having to go through WWE for merch, now it's the other way around. WWE has to basically get his approval on any merch. Yes, I mean that's a big power move right there.
Richard, man, good for him.
Then of course the downside of all that, we had everything that came out with Vince McMahon. I mean the lawsuit was already out there.
Yes.
But then the Wall Street Journal basically released the bomb of like a lot of the details with the lawsuit. In a nutshell, it forces him to step down from the TKO board of directors.
Correct.
He is completely out of WWE, out of TKO. John Laurinaitis is also heavily named in said lawsuit, and so, of course, he's persona non grata. Brock Lesnar is alluded to as a former WWE and UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah, name not outright. They did not specify his name, but UFC champion.
By process of elimination, there's only one person that fits both criteria. And so, with his name being out there, and in a negative light, it basically erases him from the Royal Rumble. Like a lot of the spots that they had planned for him
went to Braun Breaker.
Went to Braun Breaker. You had Pat McAfee basically taking his spot last minute, wherever he would have entered.
Pat McAfee didn't even know about it, so it had to be the Brock Lesnar spot.
Yeah. And then it was heavily rumored that we were supposed to get Gunther and Brock at Mania, and now that's not happening.
And apparently, what we talked about earlier, they took Brock out of the 2K24 video game. So they are just like, no, Brock does not exist right now.
I mean, they've pretty much done that with Vince, and I know that they've talked about maybe doing something similar to some of those Vince segments, like what they did with Chris Benoit, where basically they have to put a disclaimer up before you watch anything that has Benoit in it. Because they're talking about doing that for Vince as well.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Especially when you look at a lot of that Attitude Era shit where...
Oh, yeah. I know they removed him, I think, from the Legacy thing to Mr. McMahon on the website, I heard.
Yeah, he's off the website.
But the fact that you just can't... When WWE's passed, Vince McMahon is WWE, you just can't get rid of him completely. It's just impossible. But yeah, if you want to put a disclaimer on there... By all means.
I mean, you have to acknowledge what he did for the business.
Yes.
But I mean, the guy's a piece of shit, and there is no chance
that you'll ever
in hell of him coming back.
No, not at all. There's literally no chance.
And then, real quickly, Royal Rumble, the event itself, I thought overall was a pretty good show.
Yes.
There were some segments of it that were very predictable.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I love the KO and Logan Paul match. I thought that was pretty entertaining and decent.
Okay.
I did. I mean, considering like a lot of the storytelling that went on, and it gives the finish, while screwy, it gives you an excuse to draw this out a bit longer, maybe to Mania.
Yeah, we'll get to that. They have been doing that, which is good, smart.
Which I mean, like, look, if the end game is we're gonna tout KO as U.S. champion and he has a good, long, successful run, a la Gunther with the Intercontinental Championship, I'm okay with that.
Be nice.
Yeah. Women's Royal Rumble match, Bayley winning it in the 3 spot. What are just some quick thoughts on that opening the show?
They opened the show with the Women's Royal Rumble. Smart decision. It kicked ass. Bayley is the longest Iron Man of all Iron or women for the WWE Raw.
It's like right around 63 minutes or a little over.
Yeah, an hour and 3 minutes and 63 minutes something seconds, and then she won the Royal Rumble at the number 3 spot. Is like, wow. Smart decision. She was the heavy favorite.
Yeah.
So I can't just smart for WWE to do that. I'm happy they did.
I mean, to me, it was the better of the 2 Rumbles.
And then also speaking of the Women's Royal Rumble, we had to speak on it as a TNA fan, Jordana Grace being put in there, which randomly, which is really nice to see. WWE.
And not just being inserted into the match, having a great run in the match.
She had a really good run.
She lasted, I want to say, about 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean that's
just under 30 minutes. She had a great spot with Naomi coming in at number 2, making her return.
And she just beat Naomi for the women, or I was gonna say Impact, but now it's the TNA Women's Impact Wrestling Championship.
I love the spot where they see each other, they quickly hug, and then they go to bashing each other with forearms. So that was a nice little spot. I love the spot with Jordana Grace and your girl that's in Alpha Academy and Creed Brothers, Nile.
Yes, yeah. Indy Nile, I think.
Yeah, Indy Nile, Ivy Nile.
Ivy Nile, yes.
I love the spot with them, doing
doing suplex, holding them up on both of them, showing off their strength. Up.
So I mean, that was a nice spot there.
And there was a very nice debut as well in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Well, before we get to that, I will say I have to give a lot of credit to Nia Jax.
Honestly, I agree. I agree.
As much shit as we have talked about her on this show, just about not being safe. With a lot of wrestlers, getting a lot of people hurt.
Like the Mabel of the female division. Yeah,
she has improved quite a bit. And I thought she had a great showing in the Rumble match.
I think so, too.
Which made it even sweeter. You go ahead.
When your girl... Well, finally, she's been signed with the company for months now, and just figuring out when's the right time to debut her. Royal Rumble is the perfect time. So then you get Jade Cargill making her debut. And, I mean, look, it had to happen. She comes in, she just looks like a monster, basically. And she was the one, because look, they all try to get Nia Jax. All the women before Jade Cargill came in the ring, they had like 8 to 10 women trying to eliminate her. And then Nia just like steamrolls and pushes her off and flexes. And then Jade Cargill to be the one to actually like pick her up on her back fireman carry, and then like gave her a spine buster. And then she picks her up for a scoop slam, like walks her to the ropes, and then like eliminates her. It was like, damn. And then Nia, to Nia's point, sold that like $1 million. Just the disbelief on her face, which made Jade look even more like a monster. Yeah, it was a great way to show.
I mean, look, Jade eliminated, if I'm not mistaken, she eliminated both Becky and Bianca, or am I remembering that wrong?
She as soon as she eliminated Nia, she eliminated Naomi right away, and then I believe she eliminated Becky not too far after from that one. I want to say. I think they're both on the ring. I can't remember if she eliminated Becky.
Yeah, no, look, either way, it was a very impressive showing for Jade. I think she came in at number 28. Mm-hmm. Just a very impressive showing on the back end. And then, of course, the finish with basically your final three being a returning Liv Morgan in the 30 spot, Bayley and Jade. I love that exchange on the ring apron where, like, literally you couldn't tell who was going to be the one to eliminate who.
Yeah.
But, of course, Bayley, being the wily ring veteran that she is, ends up coming out on top there. So, I mean, great showing from Bayley, basically coming in from almost the beginning of the match and lasting all the way to the end. Trying to think, what was the fourth match? Because we only had 4 matches.
Well, you had the WWE Championship match. You had the 4-way match.
Oh, yes.
And that was, you talk about predictability. That's kind of what it was. It was just as predictable as you can get.
I mean, there were good spots in it. Nobody was made to look weak in the match. And, look, coming out of a fatal 4-way, that's what you hope for. Especially, AJ eating the pin.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going up for a phenomenal forearm. LA Knight hits the ropes, knocks it down. Dude, and I don't know if that was a planned bump or whatever. That was a fucking great sell.
Oh, yeah, he always sells it good.
And then, Roman spearing him in very believable spots. And, I mean, everybody, I think, came out strong in that match. How the hell Samantha Irvine didn't get killed? When Solo went
ran right through the barricade.
Dude, that barricade landed right at her fucking feet. And she was backed all the way to that back wall, too. Jeez.
Hey, consider yourself lucky. I know. I thought that too as well.
Man. But yeah, then the men's Royal Rumble match. Cody winning it in the 15 spot.
Yeah,
so
number 15.
He's not 30 like last year. He's 15 this year, so he's inching halfway up there. But just what are some of your quick thoughts from the match? And
that's so long since it was the main event. All right. I'm just trying to think of everything that they had in the match itself. I know Gunther was 17. Because those two were because Cody was number 30, and then you had to have him number 15.
Mm-hmm.
Punk, I believe, was 27. Was the one that came out.
27.
Drew, I think, was 28th, and then the last one was Sami Zayn. But Braun Breaker, I thought looked really good. He making his main roster debut.
Yeah, basically all the eliminations and all the high spots in that match that was supposed to go to Braun.
Was supposed to do.
Braun did, which, I mean, great way to make a debut on the main roster. I mean, he's not officially on a show yet, but great way to debut with all that main event talent.
Oh, absolutely, because, think about it. Okay, so you had a returning Omos appear, and then Omos is kind of being Omos, doing what Giants do in the Royal Rumble, and for the fact that Braun was really the one that eliminated him, basically, was, a big for momentum, in his opinion. That was kind of funny how, Dominic Mysterio was the one that got the elimination over Braun, so I kind of thought that was strange. It kind of went unnoticed, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I thought the Judgment Day was pretty funny, too, doing what they were doing.
So let's rewind for a second, because if there was 2 points that I forgot from the Women's Royal Rumble, one would be MVP of the match by far, Chelsea Green.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my God! Like
Thank
a lot of her spots. Yeah. She lasted longer than she did last year, but God, did she eat a lot of punishment in that match?
Yeah, I think the year before she set the record for the quickest elimination by female, and then this year she definitely lasted long, and she was just doing comedy spots. She's got in the crap right ever and selling it.
She did very well in her role, and then R-Truth, like the other unsung hero of both Rumbles. I mean, coming out in his spot, which I think was 24. And being like, oh God, I'm out, I'm out for the wrong Rumble, blah, 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 what's happening? And then going backstage, a little backstage thing with him and your boy from Raw.
Adam Pearce?
Adam Pearce, yeah.
He's just like, you do know, but and then Adam Pearce comes, he's like, you know what you're in, right? And he's like, yeah, I know. And he's like kicking him out briefly, but that was a funny ass segment.
But then him coming out in the men's Rumble at the 24 spot and thinking it's a freaking tag team match and basically trying to do the same
smart
with Miz.
In the sense that it's just like, because the Miz is like in a sleeper hold, and then like here's R-Truth just sticking out his hand for the tag,
waiting for the hot
and
tag.
He's doing the clapping, and the crowd's getting behind it, loving it. It was just a smart thing to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, great showing from him. Your final four in the men's Rumble, you had Drew, Cody, CM Punk, and
I'm trying to think who the fourth guy was. Oh my God,
I'd have to go back and take a look at my pad from. Actually, wait a minute. Let's see.
Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank.
Was it Sammy?
I thought Sammy was eliminated before that, I want to say.
I think it was Sammy. I think that was your final four. Either way, like, you can make a compelling argument for any of those gentlemen.
Yes.
To potentially main event a Mania. I mean, we're down to Punk and Cody for the final two. And, the
fact that, CM Punk actually busted out a pedigree or maybe a mini Pepsi plunge.
Pepsi plunge, yeah.
Possibly a mini Pepsi plunge instead of a pedigree. But it was just kind of funny. And then you're just like, who's going to win this? Going back and forth.
And Cody ultimately coming out on top. And then Cody, pointing at the WrestleMania sign on the turnbuckle. And then pointing in the skybox at Roman Reigns. We're thinking, okay, clearly we're going to finish the story. And then Monday Night Raw happens. So it's like, I feel like we did a good job of covering everything that built up to this past week, but a lot of shit went down this past week.
Because we got to find out something happened during that match at the Royal Rumble that definitely made a lot of changes that had to happen on the fly. So unfortunately, coming out, start off Monday Night Raw.
CM Punk coming out to announce that he injured his triceps.
Sling, and then, admits that he tore his tricep. And he's going to miss WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people were suspecting it was a spot where Drew...
did the Future Shock DDT.
Yeah.
He landed awkward on his the arm. Yeah, I think that was the spot. But the fact that he wrestled that match with it, I mean, dude, kudos to him, toughing that out.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a ring veteran for you. But he comes out and he cuts a very emotional promo, talking about...
He's always solid on the microphone.
Yeah, no, I mean, always solid, but I mean, even bringing up the points and a lot of the criticism against him, like, the fact that he, the last 2-3 years has been very injury prone.
Yes.
And it's like, how much longer does he really have in the ring? Is he ever going to have his WrestleMania moment, et cetera, et cetera? And then he gets interrupted by Drew McIntyre's music, and I got to say, Drew McIntyre is my new favorite heel in WWE. I mean, the dude is fire on the microphone.
Since last Monday, he has been like everybody's favorite new character. Reinvented himself as this devilish heel.
Even before last Monday, TNK, even before that, his promos against Cody, his promos against Seth before that, his promos against some of the other guys on the Raw roster in the build up to the Rumble and who's going to win.
God.
His promo against Punk before this past Monday.
Oh, yeah.
All that shit was fire. But then we get to this promo this past Monday on Raw, and oh my God.
Because, like, it's such a devilishly, like, a devilish thing to say to someone, and you just can't help but be like, ooh. Like, you're the guy that supposedly kayfabe tore his tricep, right? And you're bragging about it. And then you're basically like, I prayed.
He's like, I'm not a spiritual person, but I prayed for this to happen. Like, oh, man. And then, like, really laying into him. I mean, just a lot of his social media stuff this past week has also been freaking fire. He's already getting T-shirts made of the meme about I killed CM Punk's WrestleMania dream or whatever, like that point at the grave. Like, the whole video of him working out, like getting that tricep workout in. It's like, oh, I gotta burn those triceps.
Oh yeah. Oh, time to tear up these triceps. And then gives the wink to the camera, and then he just starts doing the tricep pull downs, and then the music's playing, and the camera kind of goes like, like cuts out to the screen. It's just awesome.
But I mean, you know, so they basically have a war of words on Monday. CM Punk basically says that when he comes back, he's zeroing in on Drew McIntyre. Like, so that's a feud that's going to be ready to go whenever Punk does come back.
And then we kind of touched upon that as well. Like, as of now, we haven't officially heard if Drew McIntyre re-signed with WWE, but I mean, come on, this is money.
I don't think you'd be investing a lot of this time and effort on all these different little rivalries if he isn't.
Because, dude,
I mean, I could very much see him taking a little bit of time off because I know he had some family shit going on back home.
They were talking about that as well.
You know, give him a break and then you have him come back with fiery vengeance.
And you can still do that because Punk's going to be out for a couple of months. So if he wants to take off like a month or two, go spend time with his family, and then come back when Punk's ready with whenever 5-6 months from now, you can absolutely relive the kayfabe story. But the social media things are hilarious, man. The fact that he did the picture of the tombstone where he's like giving the peace sign, like I did this,
doing the Grant Gustin flash,
like doing like the checked up like that, and then like you see the tombstone that's like CM Punk's WrestleMania 2024 to 2024. Like Dream is like, dude, I fucking loved it so much, man. I was laughing my ass off because not everybody gets to do the social media thing because you know, like with Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder building up on it outside, like, but now this is a new regime. Triple H is taking over. Drew's in a contract. Maybe he could be like, hey, I'll resign if you let me do this stuff behind the scenes to keep the feud building. Kind of like old school 80s, like I broke Dusty's leg t-shirt. Like Drew's doing pretty much that. Let's keep it alive, man.
Oh, yeah. Right up there with the I broke Wahoo's leg shit, too. Yeah.
Oh, Wahoo's leg. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Dusty's arm ripped.
Dusty got his arm break. Yeah, that's before.
And then Wahoo's leg.
Wahoo's leg. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Greg the Hammer Valentine. But, I mean, look, Drew McIntyre is on fire. And so, you know, basically after their stare down in War of Words, CM Punk basically and him brawl. Drew McIntyre targets that triceps. I mean, basically injures him further and writes him off TV for the next few months. So we have that. One of the other big things to come out of this past Monday's Raw, Bayley and Damage Control. It was announced that both Royal Rumble winners were going to come out and talk to the crowd.
Yes.
So Bayley and Damage Control come out and they imply heavily that Bayley's going to challenge Rhea. Mm-hmm. Rhea comes out and basically campaigns like, oh no, I want it. You know, you want it, Bayley. You want this hurt, come and get it. Nia Jax comes out, beats the ever-loving hell out of Rhea. Right there in front of Bayley and Damage Control. So, I mean, then it's like, okay, well, you know, then you sit there and you start thinking about potential WrestleMania plans. It's like, are we going to maybe go down that route and have Rhea slay a giant? Like, there's other potential storylines, but then that's one, because everybody's like, Rhea and Becky. Now we have Rhea and Nia to add to the equation.
Okay, yeah, so that was Raw last week. And then you have your other Royal Rumble winner, at least trying to...
Yeah, we definitely have to talk about that.
Oh, no, well...
Yeah, no, we have to.
No, okay, so this is last week.
Yeah.
So obviously Cody comes out, massive pop. He's we haven't had a two-time return Royal Rumble winner since Stone Cold Steve Austin. Mm-hmm. But this is very reminiscent of Shawn Michaels. It's the first time he won, he lost, and then he won it on the second one. But we'll get to that later. I don't know if that's the way they're going to go with it. So Cody comes out, and you know, obviously he points at Roman after he wins the Royal Rumble. So you assume that he's going to pick Roman, but he kind of talks, and the next thing you know, we hear Seth Rollins' music comes out. Okay, we are. All right, if you're a wrestling fan who's got a brain that's, you know, who watched last year, you know that Cody beat Seth 3 times in a row, but yet we're not allowed to talk about that for whatever reason, because we got to build Seth up, because they built Seth up as a superhero title run that he's had since he's been the first ever World Heavyweight Champion.
Inaugural
World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
So Seth made up some good points. I actually liked the segment. I thought it was a very entertaining segment. Basically being like, look, man, I know you want to go with Roman, but let me give you, let me give you my sales pitch.
Yeah, let me talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Seth did a really good job. I mean, basically saying like, look, this is the worker belt. This is the belt that your dad, you know, held. Giving it back to the old school.
I mean, like, look, the spirit of the promo was nice. I mean, the fact that he's like, look, this is the workman's belt. You know, this is the belt that your father would have been proud to hold.
Yeah.
You know, this is the belt that means something. It's not the Hollywood belt, which is what he called Roman Reigns' title. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not the Hollywood belt that gets defended 4 times a year. This is a belt that gets defended on the house show circuits, on TV, at premium live events. It's like, if you want to be recognized as the man, this is the belt that you need.
Yes.
And so, he gave a compelling argument fact that Cody didn't even really get to say what he wanted to say. It was like, you know, I wasn't expecting this. I have a lot to think about.
Yeah.
So then we put a pin in that. And you know what? And that was a good thing, because it's like, hey, okay, we're gonna add drama to the story. You know,
which I like.
mean,
you need to
build this out, pad it out. We then go to SmackDown, and again, let's go ahead and start with Bayley in Damage Control, because this is I gotta say, if there's one thing that WWE has done an outstanding job of ever since Triple H has officially taken over as head of creative, is the long-term storytelling.
Yes, I'll give you that.
Because, you know, you go back months ago, you start to see some of the members of Damage Control, like Io and Dakota, kind of start taking what Bayley says with a grain of salt, or not really putting a lot of stock in a lot of what she's pitching and preaching, okay? So, like, rolling their eyes at things that she says in interviews, or, you know, talking behind her back. There's a bit of that. Io Sky wins the Money in the Bank and eventually goes on to win a title, and it seems like everything's, you know, happy in paradise again, okay? Then we add in Asuka into the fold. And then eventually we add Kairi Sane into the fold. So we have the Kabuki Warriors, we have Io, we have Dakota, who's still sidelined with injury, that's basically there as cheerleader and, like, manager. And you start seeing a lot more whispers with the Japanese girls behind Bayley's back. And we've been seeing this kind of for weeks here and there. Not like
they haven't been on the same page for weeks yet.
No.
So I'll be honest about
but
that.
not very evident, and not very like, oh my god. But you'd see like little remarks where they talk to each other in Japanese, and they look at Bayley and be like, hee, you know, whatever. We get to Friday night, and they're in the locker room, and apparently there's a lot of mad shit Japanese talking going back and forth about the girls and Bayley.
Yeah.
They leave the locker room. We see Bayley chilling in the showers in the same locker room, like, oh, I heard everything that they said. Oh, I know they were talking about me. Then we get to the in-ring segment.
All right, look, I already had a conversation with Rampage about this earlier. I thought this was rushed, because now you got 2 months, you already announced it.
It's rushed.
I felt it was rushed.
I do feel like that was rushed, but the reveal I thought was really good.
The reveal was good. I will give you that.
Even so much so to the fact that when Bayley starts speaking Japanese to them, all of a sudden you hear the crowd go, "Oh!" I mean, loud, audible. "Oh!" It's like, oh shit. I do feel like that whole thing was rushed, but at the same point in time, we have several weeks now to flesh out that story.
If you can make it up that way, then I'll accept it. I was like, there was a little bit more juice I thought they could have got out of it before they did like the reveal, the turn, like they turned on Bayley.
And I'll give you a reason why I think they maybe rushed that announcement. We'll talk more about that.
We talked about like something with her earlier. I thought y'all talking about, because all I saw on my social media post was those pants. And I'm like, come on, guys, y'all need to knock this off, man.
Dude, she's been wearing weird pants for weeks. I mean, actually, going back to when she re-debuted,
she had the black ones on when they were in Puerto Rico. She busted out the white on.
Yeah, but like the whole suspenders chilling on the side. I mean, not even wearing the suspenders, they're just chilling there. Like, I don't know, weird costume choice, but that's just me.
No, it's like because all of a sudden she's gotten thicker down there, so people have started to notice, and I'm like,
she always been thick. She's just even thicker now. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm just saying. People are just like going a little too crazy over the fact that she's gotten thicker. Because I'm seeing pictures of her butt all over the internet. I'm like, gosh, y'all need to tone this shit down.
Yeah, but part of the reason why, again, I think Bayley rushed that announcement, we have to talk about everything that's going on with the WWE Universal Championship.
Oh, we're getting ready to go to that. I was gonna say real quick before we get to that. On SmackDown, you had 2 NXT call-ups that kind of.
Oh yeah, actually no, let's delve into that.
Okay, so Braun Breaker was behind the scenes. He heard the pitch from Nick Aldis. So tonight he's supposed to hear the pitch from Adam Pearce. And so then all of a sudden we had the debut of Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown. And to what Ramsey told me earlier, she was the last match on SmackDown, by the way. Her debut match with Misha. Because
before they get to
the Cody segment, though. So I just had to throw that out there and give, because usually because really the official calendar starts Royal Rumble. That's like their calendar year for WWE. So it's usually around this time you have like stars from NXT make their NXT call-ups at this time. Not always, but you got to have at least 1 or 2 right around there. I just had to give that out because look, I knew
Well, in actually, as a matter of fact, the quality of the match itself, because, you know, it could have been a squash match where Michin looked bad. Michin actually got a decent amount of offense.
It's the first time I ever recall seeing Michin wrestle on SmackDown.
Made Tiffany Stratton look good.
Yes.
In victory.
Oh, yeah, you had to. She did her job.
Yeah, no, she did a great job. It was a great match. It wasn't a short one.
No, it wasn't.
Like, they actually got a good time to tell a story. Yeah. So no, I mean, definitely kudos to Tiffany. Can't wait to see more of what she does on SmackDown. But all right, let's get to the main event segment, okay? Roman Reigns coming out and just eviscerating Seth
Rollins.
Okay.
He had to give his report to what Seth said about
Seth
his title.
fired a few shots at Roman on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Roman dropped a bomb on Seth. I mean, just like, dude, when he talked about Seth and the fact that, like, oh, no pop, and then continued to go on, just like basically dogging him with the crowd, talking about the toy belt, the fake belt, the number 2 belt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, yeah, if you want to say that's a workhorse belt, no, whatever. No. This is the belt.
It is.
That's the number 2 belt, the second best, the also ran,
I mean,
first loser.
Look,
he eviscerated Seth.
I mean, look, it's smart when he said that because, like, it's the truth, and that just, like, says everything. He goes, oh, so yeah, you might wrestle, 2, 3, 4, like 10 times more than I wrestle,
but I make 10 times more.
10 times more.
You.
Yeah, like that's, and the crowd's like, ooh, it's like, yeah. That's called truth. It's called spitting facts, buddy. Yeah.
No, dude. Roman killed it on the mic. But at the same point in time, it buries the World Heavyweight Championship.
That was my...
That was my only thought process on that. I love the promo, but what are we doing with the World Heavyweight Championship? It lessens it. Already more so than what some people perceive it as being.
Yes, because like everybody knows to be the man, you got to beat Roman. Now, and I think once the belt comes off of Roman, I think that'll give more attention towards the World Heavyweight title because you can accept that as being like on par with the WWE Championship. But as of right now, the WWE Championship is at a whole nother level because Roman's been the champ for like over 3 years, basically at this point. So, no, so you was like, yeah, I was not seeing that.
Thank you, Ramsey.
But
no, so Roman basically comes out, says his stuff. Cody's music hits. Cody comes out to address Roman, and this is and look, this is something that the entire show we showed at the beginning of SmackDown. Roman Reigns arriving at the building, Cody Rhodes arriving at the building with his dog. We show midway through the show Cody Rhodes sitting in his tour bus, petting the dog. We've made it a point the entire show. Cody's coming. Cody's coming. Cody's coming. You got to stay tuned. Cody's coming.
Yeah.
Cody comes out. Looks at, basically gets in the ring with Roman and the Bloodline, asks the Bloodline to step out. He'd rather it be a private conversation.
Between,
of course, Paul Heyman stays in the ring because that's what Paul Heyman does, is the advocate. Or the wise man. The wise man.
Legal counsel needs to be there always.
But, basically, Cody talking to Roman's like, what's finishing the story? Is it winning the championship? Is it... And then just starts laying out a bunch of scenarios. And then he talks about how he wants it all. Like... Roman says that's his announce table, his ring, his crowd, his this, his that. Cody is coming to take it all. But he's talked to several people, several wrestlers, several legends, several, whatever. He's talked to one person in particular, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'm coming for it all, but not at Mania. And then Rock's music hits. The place, Birmingham, Alabama, erupted, okay?
I mean, it's The Rock. It's The Rock.
It's The Rock. Rock slowly makes his way to the ring. I think probably in this full 18-minute segment from whenever Roman first came out to whenever SmackDown went off air.
Oh, dude.
I think we spent about, I'd say, 14 minutes of that on just entrances.
Oh, my God. Yes, because, like, when The Rock came out, dude, I'm literally, like... At first, I'm just kind of, like... I'm doing some other stuff, and I have it in the background on my phone. And then, like, next thing you know, I'm like, oh, wait, The Rock's coming out? 15 seconds. Because I was watching on a little delay. Like 15 second. I'm like... And then all of a sudden, like, he still hasn't said anything. 50 second.
We had to see the goosebumps. We had to see that.
I'm like, good God. And then, like, he hugged Cody Rhodes.
He whispered something in his ear. Don't know if we're ever gonna know what Rock said to Cody, but he whispered something in his ear.
Oh my God, the memes.
Cody leaves the ring, and the camera actually follows Cody as he walks out and makes his way back up the ramp, and you could just see this look of dejection in his face.
Oh, which by the way, WWE took that off. By the way, they removed Cody Rhodes' sad reaction on like their webpage. So
yeah,
website.
But it's also like, so there's several scenarios. We're gonna get into that after we finish talking about the segment itself. But like,
you see the stare down, and that there's not a word spoken.
No, they literally just stare at each other. They look at the crowd, and then they look at each other, and then they look at the crowd.
Because I had to go back and rewind it. I'm like...
Roman makes like he's going to leave the ring, but then no, we're just readjusting, and we're still staring each other down, and it's...
That's the smart decision by WWE's part, I will admit that. Because then it like still keeps you interested. Like, they didn't say a word. What's going to happen?
And then we cut to black. And when I say that the internet as a collective lost their shit, holy crap. We want Cody... the #1 trend on Twitter for 3 days straight. Actually, I think going into Raw on 4 days straight.
Ramsey, do you have microphone capability right now? You don't have to. You don't have to. I don't want you. Don't. I was gonna say, based on what we said when he said the internet losing.
Am I here? Because I was never introduced at the beginning of the podcast.
Oh,
I know that's on us. I'm so sorry. We just
you're the voice of
we
God
right
now
how to
because
do
you don't have a camera.
We kind of forgot how to do this.
But you broke your camera last week with all of our technical issues.
He did. It was pretty funny. But I got to say this: when he talked about a second ago about the internet losing their ever-loving mind, why would WWE do what they did? What would be a particular reason for that?
To stray away from the narrative about Vince McMahon and all the controversy that's been going on.
Bingo.
Yeah, bigger talking point.
Because you have not heard a single thing about the Vince McMahon fallout, which was a big black eye or like sore subject with WWE since this merger's been happening and the announcement with Netflix. You know, like originally, like Slim Jim pulled their sponsorship from Royal Rumble.
They pulled their sponsorship and they made a statement about we have to reevaluate or we have to temporarily or we have to indefinitely suspend our relationship. Later that day, Vince resigned from the company. And then, like, literally, it was less than 24 hours that Slim Jim pulled their sponsorship and then put it back in. Like,
so the point being is like,
that was a funny angle and all of that.
So like they want to push themselves as far away from Vince McMahon as possible with all these allegations and everything that's going on. So WWE doing this right now is a very smart decision because nobody's talking about Vince. Everybody's just talking about the segment with The Rock basically stealing Cody's spot. And I mean, look, I've seen a ton of memes. I've seen a lot of the comment section on there. Like basically, it was like the meme that you saw when Cody was giving Rock a hug. It was kind of like you just see like the memes like. It's like, hey, Cody, tell me what your story is. He's like, it doesn't matter what your story is. And, like, basically, like, The Rock's like, oh, he's now the chairman of the board or on the, and now he's, like, doing Hogan. That doesn't work for me, pal. I'm The Rock. I want to make money. It's kind of like a money grab. We need star power. No Punk. No Brock. The Rock's going to interject himself. And they're like, oh, this was the story all along. Well, then why not have The Rock win the Rumble?
Why did it happen last year? Because I mean, like, look, when you look at a lot of the long-term storytelling going back to last year and everything, the build-up to that Mania, it was literally like, we've been building Cody up, we've been building Cody up, we've been building Cody up. It's almost like, what was the point of all of the trials and tribulations from the past year? Him having to go through Brock Lesnar 3 times. His war of attrition with the Judgment Day, like a lot of these other things. Why are we going through telling that story if it's not happening at Mania? Now, granted, we're going to play out several other scenarios that have been pitched and presented, but I'm just saying, in the moment, hot take, everybody was like, you're just shitting on all that storytelling and all that natural build that you've done this past year.
Oh, God, man. Like, if we want to get into all that, we can get into it now or whenever you want to get into it about all this because, like, yeah, why do everything you just said to have The Rock? Is like, look, it made all the sense in the world to do The Rock versus Roman last year when WrestleMania was in Los Angeles because The Rock is like an A-list celebrity, like the #1 money-making guy in Hollywood. Why not do it in Hollywood? Whether it be scheduling a movie or whatever, I don't know. I know when he's not allowed to do anything when you're on set shooting something. Why now? Maybe because of the fallout with Strike. I have no idea.
I mean, look. So, Seth and Cody, it would not be a bad match. It would not be. It would be an entertaining match. But I've already seen it 3 times. and I've already seen the end 3 times, and the same person has won 3 times. You're not going to have Cody win the Rumble 2 years in a row to have him lose 2 years in a row at Mania.
You can't do it. If you do that, oh my God, man, that crowd, that Philly crowd is going to fucking just...
No.
You're going to get booed. Like, it's going to be insane. Like, you're going to see, like, I think you'll see a reminiscent of NWO, like, people will throw trash. Like, I think it will be insane if you do that.
I mean, it's really going this direction and pivoting. I understand how big of a box office draw Rock and Roman is. It doesn't need to be for the belt. And I'm sorry, I don't think it supersedes Cody's story. Like, do I want to see this match later in the year? Maybe like a SummerSlam. With the belt not on the line, or with the belt not even involved at all. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Look, man, it's The Rock. The Rock doesn't wrestle for any, like, unless it's like, he will not wrestle under 50,000 people capacity. And, of course, it's the main event of WrestleMania. He's The Rock. If he's going to wrestle, it's got to be WrestleMania. I get all that. He's The Rock, for crying out loud. But to interject yourself in that manner, when basically Cody giving up his spot, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's what's the head scratcher.
I win the Rumble. I get to choose what I want to do, but I'm going to sidestep to let you have your moment at Mania.
But why would I do that?
It's my choice. It's my option. Why am I sidestepping for you?
Yeah, that makes zero sense.
Go ahead, Ramsey.
What happens if it's going to be that Cody does not face either Rollins or Roman, and maybe faces Okada in the Royal Rumble? I mean, the WrestleMania.
So he would be the first Rumble winner since the Rumble winner gets to challenge for the heavyweight title at Mania to say, I don't want any world championship. I want to fight Okada.
But what would be bigger for Okada's first match in WWE? Be with Cody, where here we go. Here's another first. Here we got Okada, which is probably going to be a better fucking match. Because one, let's be honest. Let's be honest with this. Let's be real. Let's be real. Fuck the story. What's a better match? Seth and Cody, or Cody and
Okada?
No. Cody or Roman. It's going to be Seth and Cody.
That would be the better match.
But what match would you really would rather see? Which would probably even be a better match. Would probably be Okada versus Cody. But it could be matches too, because
we still don't know.
It would be an amazing match. Not at this year's Mania, because who do you have eat the pin in that match? Are you gonna have Okada
Cody.
lose his debut match?
No,
Are you really gonna have Cody as big and heavily pushed as he is? Lose at Mania?
I don't see it unless he says like, yeah, I like. Well, you'd be like, hey, instead of a world title, I just want to be the main event of WrestleMania. That's kind of like,
no, that makes no sense. I will say this before we start getting into possible scenarios. This Thursday in Las Vegas, there is going to be the WrestleMania kickoff press conference.
Yes.
It's basically WWE taking advantage of all of the sports media world being in Vegas for the Super Bowl this weekend.
Very smart.
Very, very smart. It's going to be hosted by Michael Cole and Pat McAfee.
Sweet. So
you know it's going to be entertaining. Rock and Roman in a face-off is advertised for the press conference. Okay. Others that are advertised to be there: Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. Big thing to note at this point, as much as we spent the last few minutes talking about the craziness that Rock, has thrown into this equation and what happens with Cody's story and everything, aside from Bayley and Io, nothing has been officially announced for Mania.
No.
Not going to go too much into spoiler territory for the start of Raw tonight, because we are recording this during Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. First 20 minutes, still not addressed as far as Cody and his WrestleMania decision. So we might get some more clarity.
2 hours into Raw, still not been addressed.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
So we might get some more clarity going into Thursday. We also have SmackDown the following night. So if we're drawing this out, I mean, look, I will give WWE credit for throwing everything at the wall to get people talking in every which direction. If we're drawing this out for a while, I'm okay with that, because it's taking you on a ride. And that's why I think they rushed the Bayley announcement, is to let this breathe and go and have a life of its own.
Yeah, I don't think they factored in the amount of blowback that The Rock was going to get, because The Rock is a very guy who likes to be liked. And I think, we talked about, I was talking about this with Ramsey a second ago, like how, when you, like, who would have thought that the most disliked video in WWE's, like on social media, was The Rock and Roman Reigns? I said it felt like The Rock trying to give the rub to Roman when he won the Royal Rumble in 2015 in Philly. Mm-hmm. Where's WrestleMania? In Philly. So you think that Philly fan is really going to accept The Rock and Roman, and they're not going to be like, we want Cody, and just like poo-poo the match just take over the match? They could.
But TNK, WrestleMania is an international crowd. It's not going to be strictly Philly. It's people all over the world.
I've been to Philly when I was 10 years old, and I had a Saints hat on, backwards. People were going past my dad, flicking them off, all because I had a Saints hat as a 10-year-old child in Philly on the interstate. It's Philly. Dude, they booed Santa. They will just
look, whether it's Philly natives or it's people that are coming in internationally or people coming in all over from the U.S. I think the vast majority of them are in Cody's corner, and they will boo the shit out.
Cody, Ramsey brought this up. The past 70 hours, Cody was the number one trending on X. We want Cody. Hashtag
we want Cody. Yep. The fact that the 18-minute clip of everything that went down on SmackDown was the most disliked video, or had the most dislikes of any video that WWE has posted on their YouTube.
I mean, look, well, that also gives you the reach of The Rock, number one. I mean, like, just how, number one, you're going to get views. But the fact that it was at Cody's expense was what rubbed people the wrong way. You're putting money in front of doing the right thing. You're trying to make money.
Genuinely, people would love, it would kill to see Rock versus Roman for head of the table, but not at the expense of Cody.
Just
and that's what it all boils down to.
Exactly.
But I have seen several scenarios pitched.
Yeah.
I had my buddy Larkin, actually. I'll give credit to him and a shout out to him. Sent me something that he stumbled across on the internet earlier today. Basically, we drag this out until we get to the contract signing, and everybody is under the assumption that it is The Rock and Roman going into Mania. But keep in mind, still nothing officially announced. Mm-hmm. We're going to a contract signing. Roman comes in, cocky as shit, signs the contract right away because he's ready to, prove that he is the definitive head of the table.
Because, it just makes the biggest sense logically from the Sonics. Like, look, I've beaten everybody but you. Once I beat you, it's unarguable. I am the greatest of all time.
Rock grabs the contract, signs it, gives it to Nick Aldis, and Roman, of course, sitting there parading around like, yeah, this is happening. I'm about to beat you, old man, whatever. And then Rock says, you really didn't read that contract, did you? Whatever. Cody's music hits, ultimate swerve. Cody comes down, signs the contract. Rock actually signed the contract to be a special guest referee at Mania to ensure that there is no outside interference or to ensure a clean match.
Yeah.
Cody wins at Mania, finishes the story. Roman and Rock go on to face each other at SummerSlam. What are your thoughts on this potential scenario?
It makes sense. It makes too much, especially when you said the 2K24 had a mode, like special guest referee mode.
Yeah, special guest referee mode is in there.
So when you brought that up to that point, it makes a lot of sense for that to happen because think about it, because now Roman is going to hate The Rock, so you could do that match at, say, another big venue. It doesn't have to be at SummerSlam. It just be at any other big venue that they have in between, WrestleMania to SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Paris, yeah, I was just thinking like another big venue.
Berlin.
Yeah. They could pull the numbers. I don't know why The Rock wouldn't do it. They're
Toronto.
gonna have insane numbers. Like I said, anything over 50,000, The Rock will do.
Yeah,
and they're obviously gonna have that international.
And I mean, it's one of those things. It would be Cody in a sense playing the long con.
Saudi.
Yeah.
That one I see especially.
Yeah, I mean, it's showing Cody using his smarts and playing the long con and lulling Roman into the sense of,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's one possible scenario. I overheard this scenario earlier today being tossed about, and I was like, that's actually... It will suck because we will go into a Mania where Cody is not facing Roman. But if we are playing the long game and we are focusing on storytelling and we're focusing on finishing the story, so to speak. If Roman holds the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship all the way to Survivor Series, and I know that's a long way from now. If he makes it to Survivor Series, he will have surpassed Bob Backlund and Hulk Hogan as far as length with the title. It would make him the longest reigning champion of the WrestleMania era.
Yes, WrestleMania era.
So that would be a big milestone. Realistically, he's never going to catch Pedro Morales. He's never going to catch Bruno.
No, impossible.
Nor should he ever.
No wrestler should
even
ever
be considered for that.
No.
But if he holds it to Survivor Series, he'll have that milestone.
Yes.
Where does Survivor Series take place this year, TNK?
We were just talking about this. I don't know where you're going with this. You said Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden. Where did Dusty face off against superstar Billy Graham, win that match via countout, and hold that World Heavyweight Championship only for it to be taken away?
I know that. I knew this one beforehand. Madison Square Garden.
So Survivor Series, the event, it debuted in what, 1988?
Yeah,
88? What was it created to go up against?
It's WWE's version of an FU to WCW's Starrcade.
Yeah, so Starrcade, that was Dusty's baby, if I'm not mistaken, right? That was his creation.
Yes, it was.
So for Cody to face Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, in the event that was created to spite his father, in the venue where his father was screwed out of that very title, I mean, we've seen that photo so many times in the Garden.
Yeah.
Would that not be a poetic way to finish the story?
And also the fact that he would win the WWE Championship, which his father never won, so he would have the first roads to hold the WWE Championship and do it of all places at Madison Square Garden, which was really WWE's stomping grounds if you really want to get down to it. You know, it just kind of all would be great, but dude, that is some long-term storytelling.
That is long-term storytelling, and that is 10 months away. That's a long way between now and
I mean,
then.
look, I'm all for long-term storytelling. They want to do that.
When was that announced that it was going to be in Madison Square Garden? Because I am not seeing it.
I've heard it. Like I said, I heard it in several spots earlier today.
But you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, Ramsey, because Madison Square Garden. Because I'm having a hard time believing that.
I'm looking at the.
Because Madison.
And
because Madison Square Garden is only like what, a 17,000, maybe 20,000 seater.
It's like I said, I don't know if it's definitive. I've heard that said several times today.
Because they want to get big venues for their big pay-per-views
on a prominent wrestling show.
But it's not.
I've heard it mentioned.
It's not in stone. It's not definite. Because like to me, I don't think they're ever going to do a pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden because they want bigger. They want to hold more capacity. But they
19,500.
It's not a bad number. You can still get the revenue if you increase the ticket sales. But it's been a while since they've done a premium live event at Madison Square Garden, I want to say.
I'm also looking on the internet. I also am reading Vegas as being a front runner also to be for Survivor Series as well, too.
Vegas. Damn, dude. I don't know if they get 50,000, but they get at least 30.
No, you got T-Mobile.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think they do Leaguard Stadium again.
Well, they could do a Legion for Mania.
Oh, first of all, it's during football season, too, so they might not have... During a bye week, they can do it.
Either way, all I'm saying is several possible scenarios that have been brought up.
It would be nice if that actually did happen, or just in general, you know, if you want to go that far and let Roman be the one. Because I've heard rumblings that they're like, oh, they're going to have Roman be the champion when the new deal with Fox goes down. When Fox goes, not Fox,
Netflix.
SmackDown goes back to
USA.
They're like, they got to have Roman as champion. I'm like, dude, that's a whole nother year. Or is it towards the end of this year in October? Or is it like till next year, 2025?
T-Mobile in the wrestling configuration can hold about 20,000 people.
I'm about to say it's Madison Square Garden, so you could still do it in MSG if they wanted to. But what's I saying? You know when USA goes, when SmackDown's going to USA? Is it the start of 2025 or is it like towards the end of the October? See, okay. Mm-hmm. So you could still, Roman would still be your inaugural champion. So that would make sense based on your theory that you just said. So yeah, that could happen.
So I mean, you know, there's a lot of storylines that are being thrown out there. I think like at the end of the day, again, I freaked out. I'm still a little shook. But at the same point in time, nothing has been officially announced. And I have a feeling they're going to drag this and milk this for as much as they can.
They really want to listen to the fans. And this is very reminiscent. It's funny that this is happening on a 10-year WrestleMania, because think about what happened with I get Daniel Bryan. We can say that because it was WWE.
Yeah.
Think Batista wins the Rumble.
Batista, Hollywood movie star.
Yes.
The Rock, Hollywood movie star. It's like literally we're just interjecting the same pieces.
But I
mean, Randy Orton, like Roman Reigns playing the Randy Orton role this go around. The fact that like Randy Orton had been on again, off again champion for X amount of time, and it's like people were kind of tired of seeing him as champion at this point.
But like the fact that Daniel Bryan wasn't even in the Rumble that year, and the fact that like they made their voices heard. You're kind of hearing those rumblings with Cody now. Like you hear the fans cheering for Cody, which is great for Cody, but not like at the. It's at the expense of The Rock. You don't want The Rock to be the villain in all this.
Right.
And you're kind of painting him as the picture of, like, this guy stealing his spots.
Well, like, one of the things that, like, wrestling fans have brought up is the fact, like, this is the guy that was like, I'm going to take over the DCEU. Black Adams are going to be, the focal point of DC movies. And then it bombed. And then, James Gunn was like,
we're going to go a new direction.
Bye.
We're pushing out all the old
so that flopped. Everything with the XFL's first season. And then it's like, okay, well, now we got to merge, the two leagues and everything. It's like that. So, I mean, it's like The Rock has had his fair share of misses as of late. And
first thing, the XFL succeeded expectations beyond. It wasn't XFL that needed to merge with USFL.
Is that right?
USFL needed to merge with the XFL. Because XFL was actually in home stadiums. Each team had a home stadium compared to where USFL
was just doing in Birmingham.
I will say this,
Birmingham,
and like
Detroit,
sidebar, non-wrestling related, but I do think it's fucked up that the New Orleans Breakers, which never played a home game in New Orleans, was one of the teams that got axed by
I still had the little
merger
tailgate sticker on a briefcase I had in my house back in the day. Yeah, then if I
would
had to play,
would have been nice to actually see a game somewhere in New Orleans, even if it was Tad Gormley Stadium. I mean,
they would have had an Additor Stadium. I know Tad Gormley anywhere. I would have gone to one, but nope.
The only stadium that would possibly would be Yeoman on Tulane, but you would have to get all the neighborhood or surrounding Tulane to approve it, because that's the reason why there's not that many high school games there, because they were supposed to Tulane promised in building the stadium agreement to limit how many games they can play at the stadium.
They should have just did it at a damn high school stadium. Camp Columbia would have been fine. They wouldn't have got that many. They would have got a couple thousand, but not that many. If that, I don't think they would have got that many. Probably got like 2,000 or 3,000 people. If I'm being honest.
I mean, I don't think.
I don't want to catch a game. I don't even want to catch my own alma mater at Tad Gormley. I really go watch them at fucking Pan Am.
But like, no, to your point, like The Rock's had a couple of misses, and I think his head's gotten a little big because he's kind of like all over the place. And I think a lot of people are finally getting like, like, okay, Rock, we love you, but like, all right, man, we need to kind of put you on break for a little while. You're just kind of all over the place right now.
Sidebar real quick. I guess we're probably going to be going to a high school game this year. Your school versus my school.
Yeah, the fact that Edna Carr is in the Catholic League. That's
Carr was in last year.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Now Warren Easton's in the league now.
Oh, Easton, yeah, no, I forgot you're Easton.
Talk about that.
But yeah, that's interesting.
It is
interesting.
But I know, like, just to your point, like The Rock, I think he's realizing now that he's doing all these big deals. I think he was trying to take over Hollywood, kind of backfired or didn't work out the way he wanted. So now he's got more free time to do stuff. He's getting older, so is his really drawing capacity in movies really what it was?
Realistically though, like, how much longer does The Rock really have in the ring?
Dude, I thought
when do you have that opportunity for him to have that match?
Well, dude, that's the thing that scares me. Was like, okay, so his last match he had was 2013 against John Cena at East Rutherford, New Jersey, WrestleMania 29. He tore his abdomen. That's why he doesn't have the abs anymore, because he really tore his, like, I think it was this side, right side, ab badly. And I'm like, that was 10 years ago. You're not getting any younger.
I mean, I've also seen it floated out there, the fact that, like, Roman could wrestle twice, like, on both nights of Mania.
I think that is probably more plausible, if I'm being honest.
But it's at the same point in time, okay, so Rock and Roman, that is a main event. That is the end of the night. That's night one.
That supersedes any world title.
And then you're going to have Cody and Roman in the main event of night 2. So you got Roman in the main event of both nights. If we were going to really talk about the World Heavyweight Championship being second fiddle, it would really be second fiddle in that case. And then where do the women's matches fit in that equation? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, are you going to have Roman wrestling in the last match on both nights?
Is Roman? It's the drawing power.
I
It's
get
what
it.
you want. I'm sorry. Like, I know they want to do like one women's match main event, one guys. That doesn't always work out that way, as we found out last year. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't see it. And as compelled as I am to see that Bayley Io Sky match, do I think that is main event worthy? No. To me, I think like that's a great opening match, and an opening match is as big of a deal. It's not the biggest deal, but it's almost as big of a deal as the last match because it sets the tone for the night.
To me, it is okay. What you just said, it's not as it is. To me, it's as big. If you told me like, "Hey man, you're kicking off the show," I'd be like, I would accept that as good as a main event almost. I'm like, that is the kickoff match. You're gonna get a big chunk of time.
Jericho has said, if you're not the last match, you want to be the first match. Yes. You definitely don't want to be the second match.
No. But being the first match is not. It's not as bad as you think. It's still a great thing. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that match will kick off whatever night of WrestleMania, night 1 or night 2.
What are some of your closing thoughts from the week that was?
Hell of a damn week, dude. Good God, man.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah, the fans. Yeah, there you go.
It's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
I was gonna say, look, I'm shook, but I'm waiting to see how this plays out because I will give them credit for this. Again, it's they are literally throwing every possible scenario out there. Even Drew McIntyre interjecting in certain areas.
That's what I want. That's what I did like about WWE because right now I'm like, I love how they're pissing off the dirt sheets because first of all, fuck the dirt sheets, but like. I just love how like Dave and all these people are like, because they're throwing false information their way that they're not used to getting, and it's like really like, will WWE kind of played super close to the vest? They rarely do, but I think they will in this one.
No, I mean like, look, if anything, it's a roller coaster of emotions, and as a wrestling fan, I do like that. Look,
talking about it.
My whole takeaway going into the Rumble was that I love the fact that you have 6 or more men, 6 or more women that are making compelling arguments why they should be the winner, and they're right. Like, you could literally go any which way and it would be okay. I like the fact that as far as the match build out for Mania, there's a plethora of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really know how it's going to shake out. There's 2 big possibilities.
Yeah.
But how do we get there? Are we going to get there? That's part of the fun of going on for the ride.
No, exactly. And like, look, man, you piqued everybody's interest because it's like nothing's been made official, guys. Let's just wait and go along for the ride. Under the Triple H regime so far, they've done right. Why wouldn't you like expect anything less? Don't lose faith. Come on.
WWE got exactly what they want done. Everyone's talking about it.
Exactly.
And the thing is like, oh damn, everyone's talking about it. It's been WWE. Oh shit! Did we totally forget that AEW got a pay-per-view coming up? It's pretty much.
It's a March, so I mean.
Revolution supposedly Sting's last match, but yeah.
But it also brings away else things too because people it's not talking about other promotions. People are stop talking about bad dealings that's going on. They got it. WWE got the emotions out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I will.
They pull the. I
will say this real quick because you did bring up AEW and the fact that they're not talking about other promotions, talking about WWE. I do love the fact that TNA got as much love as they did in that Royal Rumble appearance with Jordana Grace, and if it opens up, and I know Triple H said he hates the term Forbidden Door. But if it opens up that door to more potential partnerships or even cross promotion down the line, that would be really cool.
Like, I'll give you an example. First of all, kudos to Scott D'Amore. I want to give a shout out because you've really been putting in the work for year after year after year, and you deserve credit for everything that TNA going back to TNA from Impact, and now you signed Nick Nemeth. They announced Mustafa Ali will face Chris Sabin for the X Division title at No Surrender at the Bayou Blast in New Orleans at the Larry Center. Later this month. But like, you're kind of making yourself like kind of like the little engine that could. They're still there. They know they're not competition, but they just want to be around and get people to kind of talk about them. And Jordana Grace said it on X that she wanted to fight Natalya. She's like, I want you to come down to our brand and wrestle me. And Natalya's all for it, but
Natalya actually initiated that first.
Oh, did she?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I mean, and look, and Natalya in a way is is like the women's ambassador for WWE.
I would
so
love
that would
see,
be nice.
Because like I know way back in the day, I know they had a little bit of a trade off where Ric Flair went to TNA, and I think Christian to get Ric Flair, I think Christian went to WWE. They like did a swap.
Yeah.
A brief swap. You can still do that, since he who should not be named is not there anymore. I don't see the point of doing that because, like, when I loved when AEW did that. AEW was doing the cross promotion during COVID.
But like I did see somebody post this up online about the big difference between AEW did their crossover with TNA versus when WWE did it.
I'm all on AEW's side for this.
Look, well, the fact that AEW went there. Kenny Omega beat their champion, and then they proceeded to just talk shit. Tony Khan appearing on TV, talking shit about Impact and TNA and all that stuff.
But they were showcasing the TNA. When Impact needed as many ratings as they could, they were having the belt on. At the point of the argument, fans, you're in the wrong for this one.
Hey, look, but then Jordana Grace comes and has a great showing in WWE, makes TNA look respectable on the big mothership. I mean...
Is anybody talking about TNA after that now? They're really not. It's just
actually,
like
a lot of people were talking about Jordana Grace.
They were talking about it. They were talking about it in the week, but WWE took the net of like, you know what? We're going to give you something to talk about.
A little spot at the Rumble, and then you won't be seen from again for like another Rumble. Will have one other year. Like, no, like do something throughout the year with them. Like AEW at least had a long-term storytelling.
Well, no, I mean, but this opens the door. I mean, look, it made sense for Mickie James to appear as the TNA Knockouts champion because she's a former WWE Women's champion.
No, I'll give you that.
Has that connection. So I mean, they didn't have to throw Jordana Grace the bone. They didn't have to throw TNA the bone. But they did, and that is promising. And if we get to see more partnerships and cross promotion and everything going forward, that's a win for everybody.
I'm holding my breath now because I don't see that happen. I'd like for it to happen on the reverse end. Give TNA some love. Send one of you two guys who are not doing anything down to them.
Look, let's face it. Nobody is competing with WWE, especially now.
No.
Okay.
Especially when one company is fighting for trying to get money for $4 million from another company.
Look, when back before Vince took over WWE, while yes, it was the WWF and they had their own champion and everything like that, they still were in partnership with the NWA.
Yeah, they were.
They still had a lot of that cross promotion. Ric Flair wrestled in WWF way back then. It was when Vince took over that he shut all that shit down. Now that Vince is gone, we could maybe go back to the old days. Just food for thought.
That too. They were part of the NWA organization as well too.
Well, yeah, they were part of it until Vince convinced his dad right before Vince bought the company to walk. So that was, I think, either 83 or 84.
I mean, dude, I just don't see. I could see TNA because they're like the little tiny engine, but like AEW and WWE doing anything. If that happens,
no.
it's gonna be fun.
WWE and AEW is not going to do anything.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever do anything.
No. But TNA, because TNA is not the quote unquote competition anymore.
No, God no. They need all the help they can get. WWE's doing them a favor, but being like, yeah, man, we'll do that. And Vince did that with ECW. He like gave them money to stay in business because he was just like.
And then he plucked all their talent.
Well,
I mean, Bischoff did too. But
Bischoff. Willie Bischoff did first, honestly. He got the cruiserweights from ECW.
But I was gonna say, I'm excited to see where we go going forward in the build up to Mania. This is always
WWE, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean this is always the most exciting time of year.
I'm not completely writing off AEW by any means necessary.
I'm not either, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
When we get to the state of wrestling, I'll give you my theories as to why I think they could still succeed in 2024. They'll never beat WWE, but I think they could still turn it around and get better.
They need to change their mindset from let's beat WWE to let's provide that alternative and focus on being the best AEW we can be.
I don't has nothing to do with the wrestlers or what's going on in AEW. The future of AEW is going to depend on Daddy Khan and what's happening in London and in Jacksonville, because I think the family's fucking losing money left and right. They're trying to get $4 million from DraftKings because their employee stole money to bet at DraftKings and FanDuel, and they're trying to get that. They told FanDuel, we want that money back.
So like if his argument is that like why would the cons be going after $2 million if they don't absolutely need
pocket
it?
change? Why are they going after pocket change?
Yeah, because like if you're a billionaire,
why are you going after pocket change?
$2 million is pocket change to a billionaire. Why are you fighting that hard for it back? But then again, a lot of rich guys don't want to pay money, so I can see them just being like, "It's my money, damn it." I could see that.
Yeah, no,
aspect.
I mean,
I'll tell you this: in their company, the only thing that makes them money is the Jaguars.
Yeah, because like
they are losing money against Fulham in London.
One of the soccer teams, football teams in Fulham.
He also owns a number of hotels,
but he's losing money because he's trying to rebuild a soccer stadium in Europe, Fulham, and he's
trying to rebuild a stadium.
He's basically just hurling bags of money into a never-ending pot that is just costing him exuberant amounts of fees. Because like to his point, over here in America, we try to get the taxpayers to pay for renovation stadiums and stadium. Europe, they ain't doing that shit.
No,
but he's also putting up money up. He also putting some money up for the renovation and total rebuild of Jacksonville Stadium.
Yeah.
Then in the future, in the next year or two, they're going to be relocating to Orlando for all their home games. So they're in a furrow where they're just throwing money in a fucking fire.
More money than they're making, and that's could possibly be AEW's downfall. Because think about it, AEW lost $34 million last year, and it's just like, as a wrestling company, we talked about this. WCW was only profitable for 2 years. They had Ted Turner's backing, and they had major networks to be on. AEW, we'll just see. We will see.
Look, it's again, because we could talk about a lot of different things.
Talk about state wrestling.
You need to focus on those big marquee matches on pay-per-view and not on free TV. But again,
we're just gonna pull
a story for a different day.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, look, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Raging Marks Wrestling Podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that way, whenever we post new videos, you'll be alerted to it. Anything else you want to throw in there, TNK?
No, man. Got it out the way.
I was going to say, Ramsey, anything you want to throw in there?
Hi, I'm Ramsey, and welcome to the show. And bye.
Fix your camera, and then we'll shoot to you. But look,
should have went to him before. That was on me.
My bad. For the Raging Marks, Ravishing Randy signing out.
TNK signing off. Now we'll shoot the Ramsey.
Bye.